けどしちゃいけないのですだから傷ついてしまえガラクタに天使が飛ぶクソらしきも僕虫角が嫌いだきっと僕は間違いと罪を重ねてくのです終わりと始まりよりもさ君のがね見たくてたまらないのです酒を花々罪の目を出して酒を花々支配されてくつぼみハラハラさせては枯れる希望を追いかけてしまう一人にさせない
Hey everyone, it is episode 98, is that correct? We're on episode 98 of Unlimited Railworks Video Game Jushu's anime podcast. That is crazy. It simultaneously feels like we've been doing this forever and also not any time at all. So 98 times 2 was like what, 196 weeks?
Like
Or something
a
like
little
that.
over 2 years now.
It's more than that. It's like 3, 4? Three?
Something
4?
like that. I don't know. We've been doing it for a while.
100, yeah, almost 200. But yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Crazy, and they just keep making more anime. And it feels like there's more shows every fucking season. I feel like when we were like in year 1, we were like, surely the you know, it's gonna fucking the bottom's gonna fall out on these isekai, and they're all just gonna stop making them.
No.
Like, I just remember us reading that story of, like, oh, yeah, you know, Katakawa stopped taking isekai prompts. And we're like, oh, thank God. It's like, no.
Well, they're
never going to run out.
They still have 300 million isekai to
in the backlog,
adapt. Yeah.
No. And more are made every year. Yeah, that's John. Hi, John.
Hi.
You have been here the longest with me.
That is true. We've been through thick and thin, and is this thick or thin? Is it?
I feel like this is. I don't know. I don't think it's that bad right now. I think we're doing okay. I think we got a good
show
season.
We watched. I said the show we watched.
Which is the bad one? Is thick bad or is thin bad?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Thin's probably bad, right? Because it's like you don't have a lot going.
I guess.
Like you don't have a lot of
like
good.
it's unstable.
Thin.
Thieves.
It's not strong.
Thick is like you got a lot.
Thick
You're
as
safe.
thieves.
Thick as thieves. That's good. Yeah, that's a good
From
thing.
the Kino to the Kuso.
Yeah, really. Sorry, I don't want to get at that's LV. Hi, LV.
Hello.
Hi. And LV's been here the second longest. Also, thank you for always being here.
And in between of thick and thin.
Yeah.
So that's just regular, I guess.
Just normal.
Just normal. Just a.
And Maverick is also here. Hi, Maverick.
Hey, what's up?
Nothing much. I will say immediately that my girlfriend did say, I really hope you watch a good show next time. So let's see how that discussion goes with this. What we're talking about. So we're talking about Flowers of Evil, which is, it was a manga series by Shuzo Oshimi. And they ended up making an anime adaptation in 2013 by the Mushishi, is that right? That's how you say it, right?
Mushishi, yep.
Mushishi director Hiroshi Nagahama. And it used an interesting, it's rotoscoped, so that's unique. Not a lot of anime is rotoscoped. And it adapts, the first 3 volumes you said, Maverick?
Yeah, just
or
about
something
the
like
first
that.
3, a little bit of the 4th volume.
Okay, yeah. So it covers that, and it's basically about this guy Takao Kasuga, who he steals his classmates' swim gym uniform, right? Just
Yeah.
gym
Gym
clothes.
clothes, yep.
It's Jim Clark.
And it causes a big ruckus. Not that big of a ruckus, but you know how it is for kids. And he steals his crush's gym clothes, and this other girl blackmails him about it. And it just sort of gets into how it's a drama, really. That's what it is. It is a drama series about how this kid deals with all of this and these characters.
I want to ask
I'm trying to.
I want to
Yeah.
ask a question actually. Like,
Yeah. Sure. Go ahead.
So, for all of us to think back to middle school, do you necessarily remember like an incident? I would say like capital I incident that you can remember that everyone was like talking about for at least however long people could remember, because middle schoolers
Yeah, 'cause
famously
middle
do not have
schoolers.
long memories. And then by high school, it just became like this thing that people kind of remember, kind of don't. Like it just passed over like with enough time that no one really cares too much about the actual event itself anymore.
I was trying to think about that when I was watching this, and I don't really think so. Like there was like normal gossip, but like there was a kid who would like steal stuff from everyone, right? And it's like everyone would always just talk about how that kid stole stuff from everyone. That's like the best I can think of.
Oh yeah.
And
For me, it's hard because, yeah, the community of kids like dramatically changed for me between middle school to junior high to high school. High school like was most different group of people I've went to school with compared to my elementary school years. Where like yeah, none of those kids like carried over. Maybe only a couple of them. I think in terms of like scandal, it wasn't like, at least in middle school, junior high, at least thinking about it here, it wasn't like students, but it was stuff like, and shockingly nothing that was like horrible and endangering to students, but stuff like, oh wow. And I went to Catholic school during my middle school to junior school years, where like, the head priest actually embezzled money, and right, insane.
The least worst thing a priest could do in that kind of case.
Right, like, and right, and basically, like, a lot of those rumors surfaced because that was actually after the fact my school closed. So honestly, there might have been something to it, and I will never know. But definitely highly likely and very fun to think about. Though when in high school, though, I would say the first year of high school, yeah, there was a girl who got pregnant, and though that said, it was with a kid who was not in our school. A guy was not, it was like with a guy who's not a classmate or anything. So, and I don't know. I think also because I lived in a community where like a lot, that stuff unfortunately happens. Not like in a frequency, but that's like not,
Yeah.
it's not as of a taboo topic to say, like, compared to the stereotypical, like, like the image of the suburbs where it's like, oh, that's so scandalous, or highly conservative religious, So, like a lot of us, like being in a city, like we were all in an urban community, we were already desensitized to a lot of those things happening, if not worse. So yeah, for sure, it was like a murder and a quiet thing, but I think a lot of people like respected that and did not pry about it. And like, I never was in a lot of classes with this girl, but I think some of her friends and other people did point out, like, oh, there was a time where she was just absent for a long while. And yeah, it was because, like, she was probably in her last trimester and was showing, and just needed to prepare to, have the baby, stuff like that. But, like, that was, quote unquote, the worst I can think of. But, like, given, like, my school and experience with that, it was surprisingly, people were, like, a little better about it compared to maybe another school situation. And like looking back on it, I'm like, oh, kind of grateful. Like it was definitely not as bad, right? Like no one bullied her, no one bothered about it. So yeah.
For me, I'll be honest, I was so I was so isolated from the other people at my school that I just wasn't aware
Yeah,
if
you
anything
wouldn't know.
happened. Yeah.
I feel like that's the case for a lot of people in, a lot of gamers and such.
And honestly, you're better off that way.
Yeah, I mean,
like, oh.
Yeah, you're not missing out, let me tell you.
yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, I am a bit, sad that I, didn't have as many friends, but also at the same time, yeah, I was never involved with any of that shit. I heard some stuff here and there, but again, it was more teachers and stuff than students because, yeah, like if it was students, they would be, involved with each other, and there wouldn't really be like repercussions for the entire school. But
Yeah.
when the band teacher got caught jerking off in his office, yeah, he got fired. So yeah,
Cool. That's
Okay, good,
good.
he got
Bro,
fired.
why would he do that?
Oh
I don't know.
no.
He was
You
fucking.
gotta come on, man.
He was sick and tired. He was sick and tired of blasting horns. He had to blast rope. Wrong episode. That was last week's Chooch Pocket.
Yeah, yeah.
No.
I was hoping it got out of your system, but I think it woke something else.
Oh god. It's good that like it didn't involve a student, but yeah, inappropriate.
Yeah.
I mean,
very inappropriate.
I think there was probably some stuff that
Oh,
went
no.
down, like not specifically with him, but I mean,
okay.
like
Yeah.
I don't remember. There's always some bullshit that happens. I just don't know. I just didn't know again because that wasn't really what it was. Yeah, but like, yeah, someone who hadn't really run into any kind of like scenario with this, I still just kind of like. God, we gotta just start talking about this fucking show. I'm ready. I'm ready. I need to let
You're
it out.
ready.
I need to let this out.
Okay.
All right.
Maverick, do you have anything you want to share first?
Oh no, I was just gonna say like back in middle school at the end of 8th grade, there's a kid that chokeslammed another kid and like dislocated his shoulder.
Oh
Oh
god.
my god.
Oh jeez.
Yeah. Because,
That
like,
sounds
I was
more
also in
normal.
Similar to LV, like I was in a school climate where like teen pregnancy was a bit more like frequent. And so, at the very least, like, people weren't outwardly shitty. Like, there was at least a level of support from folks, especially, or if it turned out that, like, someone would come back to finish out their education, then they were definitely like, oh, wow, which, end of the day, a mother doesn't owe you anything, or a person doesn't owe you any sort of, like, outward-facing, like, conclusion to whatever that whole thing is. It's their life and how they choose to like live with stuff. But yeah, like that's at least the first thing I can remember where it was like, yeah, this is the thing that people kind of talked about. And then as the years went on, it kind of just faded into the background and we all kind of settled into our own like beats right after that. But John, please, honestly, I want you to go ahead. And
Yeah, I was going to say that gives me the solution to my problem before Maverick asks his question of I don't know who to start with. So if you want to go right ahead, Sean.
Y'all, this show sucks.
Yeah.
I'm inclined to agree with you, John.
Yeah, so when this show I remember when this show premiered and there was a lot of discourse about the rotoscoping because that is the first blush like oh my god
Yeah,
what
that's
is
the thing
going
that
on?
strikes you.
Yeah, because it's an interesting conceit to rotoscope an entire anime and basically just trace over the people as they act it out, basically. And so we'll probably get to this during Maverick's section, but like I know that Maverick read the manga and found it far more compelling. As someone who doesn't know anything like I don't like the base story enough to want to read the manga, but this definitely feels like a story that has something to it. Like, if it's good or bad, it's up to interpretation, but like, there's something to this story, but I just think this adaptation is especially awful because I think they focused way too much on this technology aspect. There's so many shots that, you know, are just lingering on nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I'm not opposed to, like, a shot that means something, that...
Yes.
Because, I think about, like, how in, like, Evangelion, there's two famous shots that are, like, the shot of Asuka and Rei in the elevator, and Shinji holding Kaoru. And both of those shots are thematically important, and they're really long, because the first one is, like, it's the uncomfortable feeling of being near someone you hate in an elevator, you know, like, and that that's... You could just feel the tension. And then the same thing with Shinji and Kaoru, where it's like Shinji is fighting, having to end this for like a minute and a half, and it's heartrending. And in this, like, there are multiple scenes in the show that are like 4-minute shots of characters just crossing a room. And
Yeah.
it's not...
Especially as it goes on. Like,
Yeah.
the last few episodes are insanely bad about this in particular. A lot of just walking for the sake of, like, they're clearly trying to be, like, really, like, isn't this cool? And it's like...
One of them was. I liked one of them, but... God.
One of the, like, 16.
Yeah.
Yeah, if the one you're talking about is the one where they're walking, it's Nakamura and Kasuga walking home from school.
Yes,
like after
that one was really well done.
Yeah, that one's good. Yeah.
Yeah,
Shame
but
about the others.
Exactly, because, like, I feel like if that was by itself, then it would have stood out more, and it wouldn't have just felt like, oh my god, because that was, like, it was uncomfortable, it was, like... You know, there was thought behind it, but the rest of it just felt like, well, we shot all this footage. I guess we shouldn't waste it. Like, wouldn't it be cool if you could see all the, like, little details of how the people move? And then you don't see those details, like, at all, because, you know, they traced over these shots, and you can be reasonable about it and be like, okay, yeah, they can't get every single little detail if they're tracing over it. But it does make it so bland looking a lot. Like, there's a bunch of shots where, like, because they're a little bit far away from characters, they don't have any facial features. And again, it's like, it's understandable because of the technology they're using, but also it sucks. Like, it's not good, because, yeah, there's just all these scenes of characters talking and you can't, like, see them fully. They look like fucking, like they don't have any facial features. They don't have any, like, interactions. It's just...
Yeah, let me tell you, the biggest problem for me as someone who consumes a lot of pretentious media was I kept wanting to give it the benefit of the doubt in a lot of cases. Be like, oh, they're trying to express it. But I keep coming back to the same idea over and over again that I talk to a lot with my girlfriend about. But it's like, this show is sucking itself off so much.
It is.
Like,
it absolutely
more
is.
than anything should suck itself off ever. And it's like, it would be, it's one thing that it is the material that it is working with, but it's like, I don't think even the best thing in the world should be sucked off this much.
Yeah, it is extremely proud of itself for trying something new, and then it's not even really doing it very well. Like,
yeah.
And again, like, yeah, so, but yeah, the thing is that if you even ignore the tech part of it, because, yeah, I think the tech absolutely gets in the way of a lot of the story. I still think the story itself is bad. Like, I think that it is... that the characters just... I think Kasuga just bounces around like fucking crazy. Like, he has no actual, like, inner, like, moral standpoint. It, like, you know... as I was watching it, I sat down and was like, okay, I need to be sure that I'm not, like, thinking of this at, like, I'm not looking at this as an adult man. I need to think about how a middle schooler might act in these sorts of situations. And even as I sat there and thought about that sort of thing, I was just like, this is still so stupid. There are so many moments where, like, he doesn't even pick something that makes sense or doesn't make sense. He just pick something, like, out of the fucking ether to do, and it makes no sense, and it just feels like it is to continue to do edgy shit, and and
Yeah,
Nakamura is such a bad character because she is just this she's like the opposite of a manic pixie dream girl in a way. Like
Yeah.
she's this demonic being that exists to basically be the the harbinger of feminine evil and how women will ruin your life basically. And
yeah, I think it's like. I'll let you finish your thoughts. Sorry.
I mean, I like there is just this this sense of I'm trying to figure out exactly how to portray. So the show is called the manga also is called The Flowers of Evil because it is based on a collection of poetry by a French modernist poet, Baudelaire, who is brought up constantly in the show. Like, Kasuga has a fucking framed picture of him
Yep.
in his room.
Which I fucking laughed at.
Which is hysterical,
It's also
yeah.
in
And
the
they show
manga,
it
too, like-
repeatedly. They show his
Yeah.
worst photo where he's like fucking dying of some sort of illness. Like he still looks so bad in it.
And Baudelaire's entire worldview, which, is based on the era that he was from. Like, modernism was very much, in reaction to a lot of war and conflict in Europe at the time. His worldview was so negative and so just, distasteful of other human beings and, reveling in, in base... it's very, it does as long as you're living, it doesn't matter who you step on, kind of shit. And it's just it's just a worldview that I completely don't believe in whatsoever. That is just I don't think that's how humans I don't think people are naturally evil, but it feels like this story just leans into that concept of a natural evil within everyone.
Yeah.
And not only that, but attributes sexuality to that in a way that I also think is not true. Is just because it's the way that Nakamura continues to project onto Kasuga is there's a way that you could tell this story that's interesting, where it's she has these quote unquote deviant urges. She wants to see him dressed up in the gym uniform. She wants to have him do all this gross sex stuff, whatever. But the way that the show presents it, it feels like it's very much Kasuga does it's a Kasuga is guilty because he has any form of sexual urge whatsoever, and he's fighting that. And him moving over towards Nakamura is basically him being no, I don't want to have a nice, chill relationship with a normal woman. I want a fucked up freak woman because she's into me dressing up and treating another girl shitty. And it's just God, it's this really negative view of sexuality just built into this story, because if Kasuga went with either of these girls, it wouldn't have been a problem. You could have a more demure girl or whatever and still be into her, but also he holds her at such a high regard too, that is in of itself a not a good way to hold somebody. And the show doesn't really it doesn't really interrogate that at all.
No, that's the real problem with it.
Yeah.
It doesn't want to interrogate anything, actually.
It's just presenting all these things and basically just being it's fucked up to be horny. That's it. And it's just showing all these fucked up things happening, but there's not really any actual reason behind them. At least in the show. The show just has all these fucked up things happen, and it's just stupid. It's just shit happening for no reason. Him vandalizing the classroom made no fucking sense to me, because he goes in there with Nakamura and he's just she's just you gotta confess publicly to everybody, and he's just fuck you, and then she freaks out on him, and then all of a sudden he's just like, actually, never mind, this is really fun, let's be
So like
fucked
that
up.
one, that makes a little sense, but it is obviously extravagant, like, because it's just like, but it doesn't make sense with his consistency of this character or
No,
anything.
yeah,
Like, none of his actions reflect like that sort of cowardly person that he is. Like, it doesn't
Exactly.
make much sense. I think in general the problem with the show to me was like just they are presenting exactly how a middle schooler would perceive the world, how a little pretentious dickbag middle school boy
Yeah.
would like pretend to be all hoity-toity and like do all these things, but then it's like reflecting that as a truth in a
Yeah.
way that is like very disconcerting, especially with the way the women are written. Like, it's just like you're presenting all of this as if it is like, yep, and that's how it is, and it's like, like, you're not a middle schooler writing this though, you're an adult now, like,
Yeah.
shouldn't you
And and
sort your
and-
feelings out?
And also just the way that the show is shot too, and how it's presented. I will say, like, the sound design for the show is incredible. It is so
Oh, yeah.
good. But it is used in a way that I absolutely don't agree with too, because like I just remember starting watching this and I did not know how the story would go. But like I just remember like the shots of him like in the classroom, like, you know, like basically like fighting with himself over taking the uniform. It is shot, and it is like the sound design and everything like for the next like 2 or 3 episodes after that, it feels like it's shot like a fucking serial killer show. And I was straight up like sitting there being like, okay, is this gonna lead, like, how does this lead to him killing somebody? Like, that's what it felt like. And I don't think it earned, like, I don't know what happens in the manga if something like that does happen in the manga. I don't feel like it earns it, at least from what I've seen so far. And it just, like, the way that it was shot, it was just like I don't know, like, I was just sitting there and I was thinking, like, a scene like this, like, you could re-edit this scene super easily. Like, another anime would treat this as, like, a comedic thing, which, like, I don't think it should. But I just think, like, oh, hee panties, like, that sort of thing. And, like, I'm just sitting there, like, they're treating this, like, way more of a big deal than I feel like it deserves. Like, yes, it's a bad thing that he is doing in this scene. Like, this is a bad thing, but it just felt like they were treating it with this gravity, this, like, intense evil. Like, as if he was, like, deciding to put someone to death. Like, he was deciding,
But
like, he was
also, like,
absolutely ruining somebody's life forever. And it just, like, I just felt like it just does not feel earned whatsoever.
They don't even, but my biggest problem is they don't interrogate why it is evil at all. They just say it is, like, right? Like,
Yeah.
there is a way that you can express specifically, like, I think the way that they posture this, they saw a freak around campus, it was probably this guy or whatever, right? Or whatever, and he stole her gym clothes because he's obsessed with her or something.
Mm-hmm.
And this, like, creating this atmosphere of, like, no safety, like, scare, like, anxiety, fear for this woman, for Psyche. That is something you can interrogate and examine. That is something that he could reflect on and talk about, right? Like, that is something he'd go, I've made her feel so unsafe by doing this. I've ruined it. They don't. That doesn't matter. Because, again, it's the middle school boy's perspective. It's this limited scope, and it's like, I can understand why you'd want to present something like that, but it doesn't tell me anything. Like, yeah, I know middle school boys suck. What about it? Like,
And as the story goes on, it also again, don't know what happens in the manga, but it feels like they're starting to introduce this, like, corruption of Psyche. And again, I feel like that's not earned, because it's just like shitty stuff is happening to her, and she's basically just being like, well, I guess I gotta let this shitty stuff happen to me because there's a boy that likes me. And it just feels gross. Like, it's just like, it feels like she's just like, because she's also becoming evil, because that's just what happens. Everyone's evil. She likes a boy. She you know, she's realizing, oh, maybe I do want to fuck him. Maybe I am as wet as an otter's pocket. Like,
oh, don't say that.
like, you know, like, and because of that, I'm evil now. Like, it just, there's just this complete disconnect from how people are, I think, in this, that it's like, it's offensive, like, to me. It's just, I hate almost everything about it, it's just it is just a shit way of looking at people. Like it makes it like like I'm just sitting here like, who hurt you, dude? Like I'm just sitting here like
Yeah.
like this just
I
And
did.
he's sitting back too, like, come back next week, you piece of shit.
yeah, it's like, no, I don't want to. You're a piece of shit. You're the piece of shit, dude. Are you looking in the mirror? But like, you know, again, I don't know this guy, and I know that he's done other fucking manga that are way like more they're considered like far like they're emotionally resonant, you know, and this just feels like this feels like a dude who never got out of his middle school days and is still just like pissed.
Just
that he didn't get-
inventing a thing in his head to get upset about or something, or like,
Yeah.
it just feels like all of this is like, and I know like writing is a lot of extrapolation in general, writing fiction, but it's like, this is like a dude's daydream in his head of like, what would happen if these two girls in class liked me, like, and then everyone would react, and that was what really got me consistently, was just everyone reacting to everything all the time. Just, he enters the room, everyone looks at him and is talking about him. Like, he does something incredibly mundane, everyone is talking about it, it matters, like all this stuff, and it's just like, dude,
Hey everybody,
most people don't give a shit.
He's reading poetry. Let's all point and laugh. Like, who fucking cares?
Yeah, that's what makes it feel like a daydream, like this sort of thing of like that sort of like incel mindset, honestly, right? Of like, everyone is focused on me and they're all thinking about me and what I'm doing. It's just I am curious to hear your thoughts, Maverick, since you have read the manga, as John keeps saying, like, I don't know the manga, since you do know the manga. If you wanted to share your thoughts, since I know you like the manga a bit more.
I think the manga is a genuinely well done piece of fiction, and everything that is bad about the adaptation comes from the fact that it sucks as an adaptation. Biggest part of that, the eyes. There are just very still faces and eyes in this entire show. And that really brings a detriment to the way that Oshimi actually draws his characters. Particularly the eye work. There's a lot of focus in just the way that people view things, the way that people actually see one another in his art, that gets completely washed out in this version of the rotoscoping. And couple that with performances from a not great Kasuga and a not really great Nakamura. It's just, it feels so, it does not hit. It does not have the same impact, especially when everything that we watch in these 12 episodes is in the first 3 volumes of the manga, and it is happening in a very brisk succession, because ultimately, and the thing that I hate the most about this adaptation is that we get to the very end, and we have this brief montage of events that occur within the next few months. And we then just cut back to the end where Kasuga says he wants to form a contract with Nakamura, and then we get this end of part 1. We cut out the moment, it is literally like getting you at the top of the roller coaster and shutting off the ride before you go down the rest of that, because ultimately what we're missing is an entire depressive descent into planned suicide. And it's supposed to be shitty. It is supposed to be rank. You are supposed to just hate these characters because ultimately there's a time skip. And the rest of the manga devotes its time to just, still in the perspective of Kasuga, but we still return to these other characters, just sort of processing, you know, what ultimately happened. And in those later chapters is where really there comes this realization of what all of this was about. And again, like, Shuzo Oshimi is someone that grew up in the countryside, in the Inaka towns of just like out on the outskirts of Tokyo, and it's a theme that has come up, you know, in very positive light when you see it in like Boku no Natsuyasumi and those style of games. But you've also seen like how detrimental it can be to folks in the like view of like Higurashi and other forms of just like what it means to be in this scenario of just like, you know, you live in the town that you live in and there's no expectation to go beyond that and how that affects you. And in retrospect, a lot of the manga gets to that, you know. Kasuga reads Flowers of Evil because he thinks it's cool. His dad introduces him to this literature, and outside of his dad, he just assumes no one else ever gets what I'm talking about. No one else seems to understand what's going on here. When I refer to Saiki, she's like this light of purity into whatever I can do, because here in our town, she is the ideal aspect of everything. In our confined space, this is the end-all, be-all, and I'll be off in my own realm doing whatever because nothing ever happens in this town. Nothing ever changes. And the anime just gets none of that.
Yeah,
So
I was going to say that.
Yeah.
That is definitely a big part of it. Just
The
none
anime,
of his.
he has
Yeah.
no personality. And I agree with you, Maverick. The second half of this story is much stronger than the first. I've seen the live action adaptation, which I will go into, which does cover that. And I think it makes things come to a full circle in a way that makes more sense than what the anime ended up doing, I think. Though I still also have more of a negative opinion of the story overall. But like after seeing that, it's like, okay, I see what the intention was. In a way that, yeah, they just did not give these characters any character or any dimension whatsoever.
Because, like, even with Nakamura, it's like, you know, on one angle you get it. We can talk about this in the States. It's like, that's definitely the friend that, like, would tell you not to come to school the next day one of these days.
Oh, yeah.
Like, plain and simple. But they kind of eke into this in the later episodes where, you know, she's living with her dad and her grandma. There's maybe a hint about what her mother was like, but we don't know that. We don't know how her dad feels about the whole divorce. You know, he says, I wonder where she gets it from, but it comes from somewhere, whether he recognizes it or not. There are foundations to that, and it never gets to that point. We leave because there's this promise of an end of part 1 that is so frustrating, because we don't even finish part 1. We don't see these characters.
Yeah, not really, yeah.
Because it gets worse.
Yeah, I am familiar. I have looked up what happens.
It is not good, and I definitely have my issues with the way primarily the relationship around Kasuga and Saiki. I am not a fan of how that gets resolved. Because it really feels tone deaf to the reality of, like, again, the expectations of what a man would be interested in terms of, like, situations or, like, how things play out, or what, like, would be identified in regards to those kinds of things. I think it never really gets addressed, but at the same time, there's at least a point that comes up out of those conversations with Kasuga and Saiki in the latter end that do drive another component and then lead to for me at least, a much better resolution that comes in the form of Kasuga and Nakamura just recognizing one another. And the big part of this all is also another character that gets introduced who is basically, you know, this point of fixation for Kasuga, but in the way where it's realizing, like, oh god, somebody else was doing the things that I was doing, and I never knew because I had my head up my ass when I was 12 years old. And that just breaks down so many of his walls and is actually, like... Again, like, I think that romance angle is really strong, but I at least... overall, like, my recommendation would be read the manga. Don't watch the anime. Just focus on the manga. I at least want to read a bit of this excerpt from one of Oshimi's afterwards, where, you know, he did these for a little bit, because with this kind of a story, you would at least, you know, in the back half kind of be like, okay, so here's where I'm coming at. Here's where I'm thinking. You know, he admits, I read The Flowers of Evil when I was a kid. I really didn't get much of it, but I thought, like, man, I bet no one else is reading this. There was, in fact, a girl who called me a shitbug, and, you know, that's what happens. And then, you know, is building into the way that this does relate to his own personal experience to an extent. But here, you know, he's just talking about, like, when does adolescence end, I wonder. I think adolescence covers that dark period between being an unthinking grade school kid and adulthood, when you've gained discernment and slipped the chains of self-consciousness. The beginning of adolescence is easy to mark. Secondary sexual characteristics start to develop, things like a lowered voice, the beginning of a girl's menstrual cycle, and the growth of pubic hair. These physical changes directly alter self-consciousness. But the end is harder to see. There are many people who reach middle age, begin balding, and get wrinkles and gray hair who retain the self-consciousness of adolescence. The onset hits you whether you like it or not, but the end doesn't come to you of its own accord. That's because it's something you have to find for yourself. This comic, too, is somehow discovering adolescence's end. And having that framework does so much to color in not only what happened, like, prior or thus far, but then it gives a foundation to how the story ends, and again is a much stronger piece that unfortunately has no connection to this adaptation at all.
Yeah, I think that it definitely helps. It definitely helps more than I feel like. If I don't like the source material, but it's like in the anime adaptation, instead of having these little bits at the end where he just says a little funny joke or whatever, right, in his little chair, it's like, what if you just had him read this out or something? Read out his author notes, or have someone else, or just show the author's note or something. Like Monogatari does stuff like that. Other like adaptations of stuff include author's notes and stuff like that. Like I think about like how good the author's notes for Fullmetal Alchemist are, right? Like the classics, stuff like that. And it's just like, I feel like this is something that more anime needs to cover, because it's like, it really does help explain why certain things are the way they are.
They weren't
and I don't,
interested.
Yeah, I know. They were interested in showing off their ability to rotoscope, and that was pretty much it. I just like, it was like, I rewatched all of Twin Peaks: The Return, like right before we watched this, right? And it's like, you want to talk about something that like is lingering on stuff, is wasting a lot of time on things that don't matter, like quote unquote wasting time, but stuff like that. And it's just like, and this doesn't even feel anything like that, even though it's doing all the same stuff. Like, it's just so empty. It's just so...
Yeah.
LV, I am curious on your thoughts.
Sure.
Like you said, you watched the live action one, and,
I also have
and
one.
You have other opinions as well. Yeah.
I think this is a series of many, many missed opportunities. So I did study Charles Baudelaire, actually, in art school. And it would be very much a thing you would study in art school, and only in art school, because yes, you have to study modernism to some extent to get an idea of where did surrealism actually come from, and where did Dadaism and the kind of the landscape of how modern art is now. Like, you have Duchamp and the Fountain, and basically stuff that's like, you know what, nihilistic, nothing matters. I'm going to exhibit a toilet as art. Rich people bought it anyway. But yeah, stuff like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people who truly fucking are sick, dying, poor, drinking to death, absent. It is World War I. This is the lost generation of many people who don't have work. Many artists who have died during this war. Many brilliant minds who died. This was like, the biggest war for the first time, stepping into the modern century, right? And it deeply affected, obviously, a whole generation of people, right? In a way that was very unprecedented at this point in time when industrialization was kicking in. So I studied that. I studied that, like, I had to study, like, Flowers of Evil specifically, like, yeah, this is like a few years after this anime came out. And then, I don't know, something about it when I first heard that title, like, pinged something in my brain being like, why is this familiar? Like, what is this? And then looking back on the show, it's like, oh, okay, weird. In reverse, I familiarized myself with the piece of literature that kind of formulated this idea to begin with. And that's kind of weird, but all right. And I always kind of wanted to watch this out of curiosity to be like, okay, what is the connective tissue here? And now that I have, I'm so disappointed because, as I'm saying, missed opportunity. I don't get it. Why is, and as Maverick has elaborated, it is solely because the author is like, I read this book and I thought I was cool and edgy too because no one else thought about it. And I'm just going to, use this as a touchstone for some of the themes I wanted to explore. And boy, it is very like, there's no reason that this series has to be titled the way it is. There's no reason Kasuga needs to have read this book to propel what ends up happening. The literature is barely like it is. I would have loved to have seen this character. Like why is literature important to this character? Like again, like going back to what I was saying, like, chiming in my own comments about other people with other people's opinions. Like Kasuga has no character. Like again, talking about this anime, Kasuga has no character. So why are the things happening to him? I see the series and I'm like, this is just a weird case study on bullying. Like, geez, like there are fucked up kids out there that are just mean and awful to people for no reason and are very manipulative and need help. And this is just like a PSA for that. Like, this is not saying anything else if I just see this like as it is, right? Right. Like again, like hand waving, why is Flowers of Evil? Yeah, important. It's just like, yeah, his father. They keep hand waving his father as like such an important touchstone as to to Kazuka's like interest in literature, the whole thing about like his mom constantly nagging him, be like, oh no, you're like your father, and they don't do anything with that. Like they don't do anything with these characters in ways that I think could have led into more interesting things and to further justify why things are happening the way they are. That said, Baudelaire is absolutely a misogynist. He absolutely 100% is a misogynist. The poem Flowers of Evil, which again, it's a multi-part thing, he does go into a whole thing about blaming women and like, yeah, there's pure women and then there's sexual deviant women. Like it's a whole thing about like women like leading men into temptation, the whole like Eve to Adam situation, you know what I mean? And I know the context of that being because Baudelaire just had a very classic, like, mother issue, like, mommy issues. Like, he had issues with his mom. Like, it's like, for some reason, that was just a problem, like, a bunch of artists had, which is like, come on. But that was it. Like, it's definitely a problematic opinion. That said, I'm still acknowledging, like, it is important to, like, study his work, but he is a misogynist, and that is where that is coming from. So seeing that, like, re-explored here without much, like, leeway as to why is just very silly. And again, as Rose, you were alluding to, like, just goes back into the classic issue of the one-dimensional, like, evil women trope. And John, you have a comment on that, too. Like, they're just bad for no reason. And if they're not bad, they might be bad, so they'd still deserve to be punished anyway. And, like, Sayaki is, like, the worst and saddest character in that regard for that reason. Yeah. Especially in what happens to her in the latter half of the story, where she just does not get, I think, a proper... I don't know what's the word. Like, not necessarily redemption, because I feel like all the characters don't really get redemption, but at least some sort of closure. But she certainly does not. Like, she gets the worst end of the stick when she basically did fucking nothing for the most part.
Her closure is that she just gets to leave.
Right! Like, what? That said, yes, I did watch the live action, which is interesting because it condenses everything that happens in the manga. So that is where my source of reference is coming from. And that's it. Of course, I'm also not getting an accurate depiction of what Maverick may have experienced, but I think I have a pretty good idea, and also potentially have like watched an adaptation that tried to like quote unquote fix things. But let me talk about the technical stuff first, also with the anime that also I had issues with. So rotoscoping is fucking hard. I hate that shit. I have not done it in a long time. I hope to never fucking do it again. That said, rotoscoping in anime has been here and there like for a lot of times. But yeah, it is ambitious that this is a full-on series. Like we've seen rotoscoping done for like certain sequences and shots.
Yeah, the Chica dance.
Oh, absolutely. yeah. And like it can do incredible things because it is actually adapting to the art style. It's not actually just a literal trace. It's just people tracing the poses per se. And at that point, it's probably not rotoscoping. It's just a really good play-by-play reference. What makes rotoscoping interesting is, it's uncanniness. It's weird, smooth frame rate because you are just going over real life footage of real people. This series just does it one-on-one. And I wish it, I don't think it's bad. I actually think the technical aspects of the show is interesting, but it definitely could have done things further. Like, I agree with the ad nauseum of all these repeated sequences of walking and the drones that, like, the opening shot where they're just walking. I actually thought that was, like, a beautiful sequence, like, kind of honing in on you, like, okay, what is going on? It's, like, building up this tension of, like, these school kids walking to school and you don't know what's going on. It's very quiet and the droning sound is kind of seeping in. It's very unnerving. But then, when it does it multiple times, it's like, okay, I see it. They realize rotoscoping is hard and they don't want to do it anymore. But now they have to fucking finish this series. Oh shit.
Yeah.
That's what happened. That is definitely what happened.
I was thinking.
Yes, that is absolutely what happened. I definitely felt it. But however, like, the ways rotoscoping can be interesting is that, like, if you look at other, like, films that do it, like, they play around with color. They go weird with it. Like, like, again, Yellow Submarine, the fucking trippy Beatles movie is the best example of this, where there's, like, a lot of shots where they do Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, and they're just going buck wild with the colors, where it's just this rotoscope sequence of this woman dancing. And that's kind of the point of it, because otherwise it is just a boring, thankless thing you're doing if you're just redoing the same footage. This series has the pretense of being scary and uncomfortable, and there are so many times they could have pushed it further if that was their intention with the rotoscoping. Otherwise, it, like, kind of is a wasted effort. You just rotoscope. Good job. Congrats. There are a lot of points, like, towards the ending where, like, Kasuga's, like, in the field of the eyeball flowers, which is the cover, like, which is an illustration in, like, a lot of Flowers of Evil publications. It's, like, from a surrealist artist. It's the eyeball flower. I can't explain it. It's just an eyeball flower. It's just weird. I don't think there's any meaning to it.
It's the all-seeing eye. It's the flower of evil that's, like whatever,
Yeah.
All this stuff. But yeah, like, stuff like him walking into the field of the eyeball flowers and he sees, like, Nakamura in an interesting light. I would have loved if there were more weird stuff like that. But for the most part, we were mostly grounded in reality. Like, they don't do anything with the animation, despite the fact that they're boasting this new fancy medium, approach they're doing it. But then they just, approach it in the most boring, bland way. When, like, they could have leaned in hard on the bizarre, like, surrealist, uncanny aspect. And, they just did nothing with it. There were a lot of weird background characters where they looked off. Like, they were clearly, like, friends that they put on a goofy mustache and costume on and called it a day. That was really... And they don't explain those fucking people. Like, I thought that was funny. It was like, oh, why is that... Why does that person have weird pigtails? That's really weird. You know what I mean? Like, they had like, goofy... like, on-set humor like that. Yeah, again, like, they didn't do more stuff with that if they were gonna do this with this medium. Like, I think the bookshop owner is the author, is the mangaka, but, like, in a stupid, like, costume mustache. Like, he's not an old man, but he's, like, dressed up as a poorly cheap old man costume, and that's, like, funny. But they don't do enough like that. Like, I agree, like, the sound design is amazing, and it kind of does go well in, like, a lot of sequences, but, yeah, I agree, the sequence after Nakamura and Kasuga fuck up the classroom, and them walking with that sound drone in, that was, like, I think the most impactful scene in the whole series. Like, that was very effective. Like, it's like, as they're contemplating what they did, you're kind of forced to, like, watch this and reckon that with them as well. But yeah, like, again, missed opportunity series, as it's going along with my thesis. This series is a missed opportunity. Just, like, they missed that opportunity when it came to, like, the technical aspect, and then in regards to, like, actually exploring further things with the characters they keep hand waving and don't pay it off at all. All these implications about like, oh, Sayaki's like she's pressured to be a perfectionist, but they fucking don't show that. They don't show that. They don't show like her being like, I'm at my breaking point, and that's why she does the things she does later on in the series. Like, it makes no sense. Stuff, and then, yeah, like, hand-waving, like, what's the deal with Nakamura's situation as to why she is the way she is. And, yeah, like, the series ends at a point before they probably properly get into that. But again, we have just these pastiches of, like, evil women, the ego, the idea, you know, whatever, fuck you, Sigmund Freud, right? Just that stuff. And, you know, that's why her hair is red, because she's crazy, you know? I mean, like, that, it's like, it's so apparent. It's like, oh my God. That said, yeah, I did see the live action, which, like, again, it has this problem of super compressing everything. So for sure, it's its flaw, where all these characters still feel very one note for that reason. Everything feels rushed. Yet, because they are live actors, they're forced to actually act and actually say more things and actually monologue. We actually have Kasuga monologue about him kind of fucking hating this town to begin. It's like, wow, where was that in the series? Because if I had that in the series, in the anime, that makes a lot of sense. Because then otherwise, he's just being directed to do all these things manipulated by this girl who, like, is off her shits. Because he has, you know what I mean? And, right, the coalition of, like, you know, like, and the movie does this thing where it actually jumps between the first part and the second part of the series where he's older, like back and forth in a jarring way. But yeah, it definitely sense. Like adds more dimension to like what is going on and why Kasuga is doing the things. And like they show more of his interest in literature. Like it's like, okay, yeah. The movie's like, I feel like the movie fills in a lot of gaps that was just lacking in Kasuga as the main character in the anime. And it's important to note, too, that the screenplay for the movie also is written by Maria Koda, where, you know, she has a tendency to, like, write and, like, do a lot of work involving deviant characters or outsider characters. And, again, I can't owe it all to her, obviously, but I think it's very interesting that the movie even tried to repair the issue with Sayaki in a lot of ways, where, you know, not to go into it too much, but they for sure gave her more of a developed role in a way that I think, and I have to say, my favorite character in the anime is Sayaki's best friend, her bestie. Like she is so supportive. Like, wow, and she's also very normal, so I appreciate that. But from my understanding, Sayaki's best friend becomes very present in the second half more so, especially when it comes to helping Kasuga out. And they instead gave that to Sayaki, like in the movie, with Sayaki trying to make amends with, well, not really making amends, but I think what they ended up doing with Sayaki in the movie is that she kind of still has this issue of being the scorned lover, like she's angry, she's bitter, whatever, but they really tried to redeem her in a way that gives her closure to Kasuga that I think even the source material doesn't, because they got rid of the best, or not got rid of, but like they lessened the role of the best friend character, and they made Sayaki do all that stuff instead, you know what I mean? Like, you know, it is Sayaki that actually is the one who encourages Kasuga, hey, you need to reach out to Nakamura because of all that shit that happened. And that's that. But of course, that said, that doesn't repair, again, inherently, yeah, which I agree with, is my own problems that I think we all have with the source material inherently just kind of making one-dimensional women, right? In a way that propels both the fantasy and, I think, coming of age of the male main character and only him and not the other girls and not everyone else. You know what I mean? Like, it's like these female characters are suffering for the male character to grow, right? And that fucking sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, like that's really my problem consistently with it. Is it really just it's so fixated on this idea that it's like, yeah, you know what? Middle school boys are just misogynist. That's just inherently how middle school boys are. And it's girls'
fault. They need to stop being sexy.
Then he grows up, but the women, they just stay the same, or they become boring or base like. And Tokiwa is like the third female character that is not present in the anime that Kasuga does meet when he's older and does help ground him in regards to being like, wow, I can be normal. You know, I mean, and like in a way, I think she's more problematic than Sayaki because she's now just an example of like
I don't know, like kind of like not really a savior role, but still like, oh wow, it's like here we go, another female trope trying to like save and help the main character. I don't know. It's just like all the female characters in the series are bad, but I get her role. I get her role as the kind of like reminder and like popping of the bubble that Kasuga keeps getting himself stuck in. But again, it's the classic issue of like, yeah, like I said, Freudian tropes of women and, you know, the princess, the hag, the mother, you know, like all those things. It's just like all of this in service for a main character that just doesn't really have much going for him. And again, just trying to remind myself, this does go back to the fact that the author really didn't seem to like put a lot of thought into it beyond like, again, the passing notion of the what ifs of his own childhood and thinking about all those things in that regard. I think in a way, like bizarrely, like my positive feelings for this series is like, yeah, I respect the attempts at some of the technical feats they tried to do. And ultimately that, and weirdly enough, that it doesn't have a happy ending, I guess, because like, if it did, like, I would be, like, really more upset, actually.
Yeah, you'd be seething if that was the
like,
case,
what?
yes.
Like, and in a way that makes sense for the intentions of what these characters are supposed to be and do. Like, in reality, yeah, people sometimes don't end up happy or don't get quite the perfect resolve to their issues. Like, sometimes people still have things that they're going through, and I think it's very presently clear that Nakamura does not, like, they don't save each other, definitely. Like, Kasuga and Nakamura don't save each other for sure. They don't cure, you know, each other. They pretty much get worse. And I think it ends in a way that makes it really clear that you can't just fix things overnight. And some people just live with this trauma and have to kind of figure it out on their own before they can really learn to, you know, be better. And it sometimes means it's not with the people you thought you had a close relationship with when you were a kid. It means meeting new people along the way. And kind of like that's what the other female character is to Kasuga later on in the second half. But ultimately, it's just like, yeah, the whole like framework of this story is, yeah, it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth that is like, man, yeah, this could have been told in a different way that doesn't create such a disservice for, I think, the female characters especially.
Yeah, it's like it's one thing where it's like you want to make, like, the thing I keep coming back to with this series where I want to give it a degree of slack is it's like again, I don't know the middle school boy mentality. I'm going to tell you right now. I just don't know. So maybe this like it makes more sense to some, but it's like if you want to create this realistic portrayal of how a middle school boy would see things and the flatness attributed to other people being associated with that, right? Because you haven't achieved a degree of self-awareness yet, so you can't appreciate that there are other people with their own interiority and all those other stuff. I can appreciate doing that, but it's like, dude, you're writing a daydream in which, what if these two girls wanted to suck my dick, basically? And it's like, you're going to go out of your way to like fictionalize this as these two girls are so interested in me, even though I'm a boring dude. But you can't go out of your way to imagine like, what if they had something going on that was like we could discuss? Is my problem with this adaptation. Mm-hmm, it's just, it has no interest in like expanding the like. They're expanding the lens to like talk about all the stuff about what it's like to be a middle school boy, but they don't care about anything else. They don't care about like analyzing that from an adult perspective or anything. It just very tiring is how I felt about it. I was so tired. I was so tired. I tried to push through this all in like 3 days because I was just like, I need to get this over with is how I felt.
I know that we keep talking about the sound design, and I definitely would applaud it. We were fucking robbed of a shoegaze just oeuvre.
Yeah.
In my mind's eye, there is so much fucking Midwest emo twang going on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, you're totally right.
Like, and that's the thing that I always come back to, that there were so many problems and pratfalls that like Shuzo Oshimi as an author does have, and I definitely cannot speak on Blood on the Tracks because I have not read that. Shino Can't Say Her Name is at least a example I would say of Oshimi extending himself a little bit more, being more vulnerable, and actually, condensing this idea of optimism in the face of adversity, but in a one-shot. And so I'll at least throw that out if you're interested in more. Definitely, I would say read the manga over the anime. Above all else, it at least gives a clear intent on what Oshima is going for, and I think Okada definitely hits on a note that also complements that with the live action film, which I would definitely want to watch, because the thing that I get back to is the fact that for me, by the end of high school, was in a relationship, top of my class, third away from valedictorian, had all these prospects and stuff, but the thing that was in the back of my mind was, I need to leave this town or else, it's gonna kill me. I need to leave New Jersey. Because every other top prospect here is gonna include people that I know, and it'll just feel like high school all over again. That was in my mind, and the way that I just saw things at the time. This constant, sensation of, I gotta get out, I gotta get out, I gotta get out. I would say, first legitimate difficulty with my mental health that I can remember, at the very least, came in my sophomore year of high school, where, the thing that I would just focus on were... We were a high school that was just one floor, and it was just, shaped like a square. And literally, for as long as I could remember, I would just... Every time I was transitioning out of classes, just focus on the exit sign of every hallway whenever I had to get out into another room. And that was just the thing that kept me steady. And so, I at least take that coming into this and recognize and can reconcile with the fact that, there are definitely things out of the time that, I can be proud of. There are times out of that time in my life that I actively build on because I know I was not at my best during that. But at the very least, it's knowing that, again, the end of that adolescence, being able to, have a sense of self-awareness and wants to grow in the case of something, coming by. Nakamura's, in the overall, Nakamura is someone who, much like Kasuga, think they have everything figured out. Because the instant that you admit that there's something you don't understand, that means you have to let other people fill in those lines. You have to break those walls down. And neither of them were ready to do that. They were so ready for other things than to at least be open to the fact that they didn't know everything. And I just really, I don't know, I wish we could have seen the rest of that actual part 1 animated. I wish we could have actually seen what part 2 maybe had looked like, to actually get an idea for what this whole adaptation would have been.
But also, you don't want to see that from this director, I don't think. Or at least
But that's the thing that gets me, too, because it's this is the director of Mushishi.
Yeah.
And I hear so many good things about Mushishi.
Yeah, I have also heard many... I've seen a couple episodes of it. And it's
I
just
think that kind of a lens could still work. It's just
I just don't think it's work. I think that we all said is absolutely true. That's just the focus on rotoscoping just tore it away from having a chance of accomplishing something.
A real Zemeckis opportunity here.
Oh, God.
There's a shot in the manga where literally in the final part of it, that titular flower of evil or whatever, just fucking crushes that. Yeah, dude.
No, yeah, there's more parts where he keeps seeing it. It's like an image haunting him. And also for a while the anime was doing that. It keeps cutting away to this vibrating, creepy, hairy flower slowly opening its eye, and then at some point it actually just stopped doing that. It just stopped doing that too. It's what? Did they even give up on the visual metaphors? What's happening? Though, to be fair, maybe the payoff was seeing Nakamura, the whole, like I said, describe the field of flowers and Nakamura. But again, like I said, that's it. They don't do anything visually interesting to give weight to. Why are they bothering to rotoscope? You know what I mean? Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, there's a lot of small things like that I can totally understand too why people who had a more positive reception to this. Though again, I keep hearing people prefer the manga to this. If I do hear positive, but it totally makes sense why so many, like a decent handful of people do resonate with this, because it certainly is like grabbing at something that is both painful and traumatic, and in a lot of ways that has happened to people. But I think it just is not executed in a way that's like conducive. Especially in regards to, I think, how some characters are handled, and I think done some huge injustice to, especially. And how the series too handles, that's another thing I forgot. Like how the series handles parents too is very interesting. Like it couldn't decide whether or not they were present versus absent, and I don't know. Like it was just not very focused on what it wanted to do with them, especially in regards to depicting adolescence through the eyes of a person.
He's very cold too. The dad is so cold in the anime.
Yeah.
And even then, like, again, that has a, like, arc to it, especially in the manga, where you see how this affects them as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, but like in this anime, you get the impression that the mom was more important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Almost.
Yeah.
Like, he just feels like a spokesperson for her. Not that either of them seem to have much ground in the anime in general.
With her, where it's like, oh, okay, I see what's going on here. They keep showing her nagging him because he fucking loses it, but then they don't show anything with that in regards to his specific relationship with his mom. It's so weird.
There's so many weird things about it. Like, it's just the way that,
They
like...
keep setting up things and don't do anything with it.
We talked a lot about, like, how it feels like he doesn't have a consistent character at all. And I think, like, what really got me consistently was like, and maybe this is my own experiences talking, but it's like he is so afraid of so many things, and then it's like he goes home and doesn't give a shit. He's out late all the time, doesn't give a shit. Like there's no fear of the parents, and it's like maybe that just feeds into another thing where it's like a different sort of parental relationship. But I don't know, dog. I was like terrified of my parents the whole time I was growing up. Like, oh no, if I'm late, like that'll be bad. Like, like. So this idea that this super cowardly character has no fears like that, of like that would make more sense. It would make more sense for him to have like this fear of traditionalized structure or something.
Or at least you just made it meek. Like you at least present.
But he's like a fucking asshole.
Or you at least present the before as like just, a guy, and then this event happens, and then it's suddenly like, okay, how many eyes are on me? And then, oh, whoops, I'm gonna go stupid eyes about Saiki thinking I'm cool. Like, again, there are cadences that make sense. The material actually at least strings it together in a way where, above all else, there's at least reasoning for everything. But holy hell, does this adaptation just really muddy a lot of that water. Opening and ending are good.
What is the sorry?
Opening and ending are good.
Yeah, the opening and ending are good. You're right. No, the opening's great. The different openings are awesome. Like that's fantastic.
And the escalation of what they all how different they are makes sense too.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, okay.
And the ending, like the way they cut it in is fantastic. I love the weird awesome.
Ending. Yeah,
it's awesome. It's great. We love the ending coming in. Like that's great, but it's just like you don't deserve this. You didn't earn this. You don't belong here. We need to get you in another series. We need to get you somewhere else.
I need you in my adaptation of Flowers.
Yeah, even honestly.
Well, no, because again, like it's the fact that like the way that this rotoscoping works. I looked up a little bit of like the case of Hana and Alice, which is a rotoscope film, which is
that's a recent one
to an old like 2000s drama mystery, which is also, there's at least the jump from live action to rotoscope, a choice, but you at least can do more things with it. But also, they actually stylize the facial features, and that does so much for the actual presentation of everything. Here is kind of just a blank, like, rewrite of, again, like, actors' faces and everything, where, one, it's already in contrast to Oshimi's art, which is at least more expressive, and can do a lot more. Like, I can tell he pulls a bit from, like, Tezuka, pulls a bit from Gonagai, pulls a bit from more contemporary artists in order to like get to some of the contortions in the face, but also it feels like they didn't just like they didn't direct the actors to actually act outside of like, all right, dude with the unibrow, you're gonna do the creepy face. Awesome. Dude with the moppy hair, you're gonna lean in and look like a doofus. Perfect. And rap. The two most expressive characters in this damn show. And we lose them like
I know.
4 episodes in.
So we did get some reactions here. I'll read this real quick. All right. So I mean, yeah, someone did ask if we did want to read the manga after this. I mean, you know, Maverick's takes on it are definitely interesting, but I don't want
If the
to.
series- I don't blame you. If it soured you, I ran to it because I needed something to make sense.
Mm-hmm.
It was in desperation that I went to the manga.
You were like sweating bullets.
I only read like 11 chapters or something before I ducked out because I was like, ain't no way I'm getting what I want out of this.
And that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, yeah, like I don't think I'll read more. Listen, I love Chainsaw Man and I already like put it off all the time because I get annoyed by some of the way the women are treated in that series. So it's like, if you can imagine me stomaching this, no way, dude.
Again, I would recommend Shino Can't Say Her Name, but
Yeah, no, like what you said about that made it sound way better. That sounds like much more better, and even things I've heard about that other the one with the
or Inside Mari.
that one, the second one.
That one I
sounds
have queued up.
better
I'm
than
curious.
this.
Yeah.
There's also I think he did a recent one, like Alice something.
Yeah.
It's like,
I remember seeing that.
Yeah, there's like a lot of interesting like discourse over it being like, hey, this is an interesting representation of like non-binary gender, or like people are like, nah, it's it's like, it's very interesting exploration of that, I guess. For me, I've seen the movie and I've had enough. But also, no, I am very curious as to see actually a couple of like how those last chapters are portrayed. I think that was very like when those scenes came up in the movie, it was very compelling. I was like, okay, wow, like this truly cut things out. However, I forgot to mention the movie adds an insane post-credits scene for no fucking reason, and that sucks. Which I think totally does. And I have to say, it's Nakamura, quote unquote, kind of like talking to a random school kid and corrupting. Like, it makes no sense. It's like, why is this here?
Oh, that was a bonus.
Flowers of Evil 2. Extended
that was
Universe.
just a bonus chapter in one of the volumes.
Oh, really? Okay. Very strange. I don't know if that was supposed to be. But anyway, very weird. It made no sense in the context of the movie. If that's supposed to be a throwaway reference to something else, it made no sense in the movie.
Did she write on like his shirt or whatever?
No, it was a schoolgirl. It made no sense.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
absolutely.
So that would have been different.
It did. It's like, what is this referencing? If this is referencing anything, does it make sense for this movie? It didn't belong here. But
did they include the scene at the beach?
No, yeah, absolutely. That's the ending. That's so important.
Oh,
That's
perfect,
ending.
Perfect. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. The actors were clearly having a great time.
That is the part. That is the part that like made me tear up, and I'm like,
no, I genuinely thought it was a very good part. I was like, oh wow, okay, I get it. Like again, like the anime sincerely lacks the whole reconciling of like you becoming older and kind of looking back on the insane things you did as a kid and just kind of like coming to terms with like trying to move past that. And the way the series ends is like a very good like I think culmination of that. And I think like isolated, those were pretty good, you know. But again, as a whole, I like I'm not very fond of the series, as I've expressed, and it has a lot of problems for me to justify like recommending it. Especially if the creator has other works that are much better and are a little more introspective sense. That I personally do want to get into.
All right. We have two very different takes here. So, Gregory Zero says, I really enjoyed rewatching Aku no Hana, a dramatic improvement from my first time through while it was airing. Not a perfect show, but I found the characters more compelling than I expected, and combined with how well the show sets a mood through its frankly amazing camera work, I was able to have a great time with it. The rotoscoping is pretty poor at times, and the pacing is quite bad near the end, but I think I might check out the manga given how much I liked it. And
I think checking out the manga's the move, right?
Yeah.
Like that
Very
seems
much.
to be the move.
And we got one from Century Punk Robin here, who it's hard to watch anime with a super unlikable main character that gets girls for no reason. Whether that anime is harem isekai or an artsy drama. Good ending song, though.
It is a good
is a
ending
good ending
song.
Yeah.
Literally, I was like whipping a nay to the Hana.
It was the best part of any episode.
Like, oh shit, it's dropping.
Because it was ending.
Honestly, you're right.
No,
Whenever
I
the song
swear.
did play, there was for some reason my mood rose up. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
because it's like an alarm. It's like a trigger mechanism that you're used to.
It's like Pavlovian
Yeah, I was like conditioned to
conditioning,
to the song being the start of the end. You're absolutely
You're like,
right.
oh god, 24 minutes
Oh my
passed.
god, it is a good song
Thank
though. It's
goodness.
an awesome, fun, weird
Yeah.
experimental song, and I love it. I'm like checking out more of that duo's music because of it. So I gave the show that. It introduced me to new music.
Again, my version, entirely nothing but early 2000s hardcore and shoegaze.
That's where the live action movie also fucked up. They like instead had like a light pop rock song as the thing. It made no sense. It's like, what is?
come on.
It was too cute. It made no sense even in the content.
Ugh.
Like the scene where they were tearing up the classroom. It was very jarring. It felt like a commercial. I'm like, this doesn't belong
I
here.
can
Get
see.
out. Someone did edit a version with the
Yeah.
show song, and it was more interesting
Yep.
that way.
Yeah, the AMVs for Fellers of Evil are weird. It's like all over the
They're
place.
just slideshows of the girls.
Like some really weird choices. Honestly, this is a series that would do well with No Children by the Mountain Goats.
Oh my god.
Because that's what it is.
All right. So so here's our problem, right? So we just talked a lot about this series because I knew this was going to happen. And the new season of fucking anime has started, so we
start.
also have all been watching a lot of stuff. I'm going to cut down to these like more communal topics, I think, just
Yeah.
for this time around, just so that we can get these out of the way in a really good everyone talk fashion. And first, I do just want to get to what we put off last time, which is talking about Licorice Recoil ending. Since Elvie wasn't here, we wanted to hold off so that Elvie could talk. And Elvie, I could let you
Oh my
talk
God.
first if you want, since
Oh,
you were
yeah.
not here. I think I'm glad that we had these 2 weeks to reflect
Yeah.
on it, because like
And
there was a lot
we
of
do,
discourse
and I don't think my
happening
opinion
for me.
changed. So,
Yeah. Okay. Good. Let's see. Let's go.
First of
Let's
all,
fucking go.
astounding presentation, great animation, fun ass show,
Yeah.
right? Fun ass show, fun characters. However, oh wait, also just great aesthetics. Let's go, like great
The
fashion.
eye catches are
iconic,
phenomenal.
yeah. But anyway, however,
Don't smoke that flower, folks.
No, don't.
They
actually don't.
changed
Yeah,
it. Did you see that?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
very funny.
Absolutely do not smoke that flower. But however,
The
So-
real Hana.
so it's a series. This is a series. We set up a world in the beginning. We set up kind of this insane, kind of I don't probably accurate.
Police
yeah,
state,
police
right?
state,
Like,
like a covert
Yeah.
police state. So there's like a dystopian layer to the show that they set up and they make it a big deal. Like, and this is why this organization exists. This is why there's also kind of weird political politic like between like different factions of this organization, because people are disagreeing over like the approaches to all that. Regardless, there is a police state. These girls are killing people because we are keeping the crime rate low. Isn't that nice? Right. That's an unsettling theme we got here. And this show has a huge dissonance problem where all the slice of life stuff is awesome, cool, like it's wonderful. The stupid fucking poop parfait, incredible. They kept rolling with that joke. I appreciate that. They were like, we have a stupid poop joke here. Let's fucking go. Because this girl has like no social skills and she doesn't understand what she made is horrific, yet people think it's funny. Like, the cafe stuff, awesome. The insane bloomers bit, also awesome. They love each other, they're gay, they're girlfriends, great. However, we still have this world we establish. And in the end, we get this very, very strange, stretched out plot about my girlfriend is dying. No, but I can't kill people. No, like, it's awful. I feel like it's fucking bad. And then they wrap around and circle back. Oh yeah, we're a police state. You know, we're fighting against this antagonist who is pretty much a product of like what this police state is. He's now he's trying to prove a point. He's the fucking Joker. We live in a society.
He's the Joker.
He's the Joker. Yeah. And then like I don't know how to explain the ending beyond like, and that's it. They like stop him, I guess. But then, don't look away. You didn't see these girls shooting people. La-di-da. That was all just a big marketing campaign. Back to the police state. It's fine. My girlfriend is alive. She's okay. Her magical heart thing is like, that was all just a distraction. She's fine. We're in love. The end. What the fuck? Like, what is this show saying? I wish the show didn't say it.
Yeah.
So my thing with
I think the problem is like they said the antagonist right,
yes.
right? Like they literally just were like, yeah, the bad guy is correct. Like not even in a way that's like we're going to make you think it's the show thinks that he's bad,
right?
But they're like accidentally proving that he's right.
This show should have been two different things. I think that's what happened. I think all the fun little action-y, like those are good. All the components of the show are good, but at the end, I realized I don't think these were good together. I would have much preferred if this was a show about, if this was still a show about girls with guns and they look cool and cute doing it. That's awesome. But it really leaves a bad, like, residual feeling, like, in me, that they just set up there's a police state and they're complicit in it. Like, like, what is going, like, what are you saying?
That's good.
What are you saying, show?
It's maintaining our peace, so
right,
it's fine.
Yeah, you're trying to make a mobile app, I get it, and I guess things will continue there, and maybe they'll explore, unpack it deeper than the show explored, right? And all these light novel, whatever. In the context of the show itself, and if I'm only going to watch the show, I don't like what the show is trying to tell me. I wish it was just a generic girl with guns, they have fun, they're in love, and no weird underlying bigger thing going on. Because there are many shows like this, and this show could have done that without it trying to be a weird psychopath thing, but failing to kind of be a psychopath thing.
Yeah.
And that's my thought.
I think it should have just been an action. It should have just been a movie.
You're right.
It should have just...
You're right.
I think, like, if it was a TV series, it should have been like the way the second Magia Record season was, where it was 12 episodes and then 4, and it was like these last few episodes could have been that 4,
yes.
And they could have had a little more filler episodes of them fooling around doing stuff, and that would have made it work as a show. But as is, it just feels like a movie stretched out into 12
absolutely
episodes.
And it doesn't, and that's my overall feelings, but it also does not like mitigate the fact that I also specifically think I am going to die in a few days. My heart is failing is the stupidest thing I have seen, and is probably the worst thing in this. Like, it definitely is like, why is this here? What is going on? Why is this? So it's very sporadic in a way that I just did not like to, and it resolved in a way that was also very silly and very Deus Ex Machina. You know what I mean?
So my thing, to a degree, is, and I want to get to your thoughts, Maverick, as well, because I know you watch this too. But my thing really was like, there's been a big debacle in the lesbian community.
Oh, sure.
About
this is tearing people apart.
whether it is Yuri bait or not. And what I come out of is, I don't think it's Yuri bait, but I think that these women were written in a way that was set up perfectly to be like, yeah, sure, they could be gay, but, if the male viewer, happened to be around these girls, they might like you more. Like that type of writing, gotcha game style ass stuff. Like, isn't there someone you forgot to ask, is all I could think the entire time.
Turn to
they
fourth wall.
canonized the sapphic relationships in D4DJ, it looks like.
Yeah, I saw that, and that's good. That feels insane, but they did do that, and that's good. Which also, again, gets me to the thing I really liked about the show, the canonized gay men, which
Yeah.
is an insane thing
Yeah.
to think would come out of this
Let
show,
alone like
but it
older
did.
men too, specifically. There's
Old gay men.
one of
and
them is
they're
disabled.
evil.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like,
there's so many like check boxes they somehow did it.
Yeah,
One of them is a
it's
black
very-
man. Like, what is going on?
It's cool. It's genuinely cool. I was really into
They
it.
did so much than what the average like American animation executive would like have a heart
Yeah.
attack over.
Yeah, like literally though.
Not to say that a lot of cartoons are doing that too right now, which is awesome. And like, but
No,
it's
yeah,
crazy
yeah.
to see like so many animators talking about like we had to sneak this in. Like it's like a fucking insane thing. You know what I mean?
But it's just
Yeah.
like here, it's literally the one
like-
of, if not the main
Yes,
antagonist
yeah.
is her evil gay dad.
Evil gay
But
dad.
you don't get that, right? You get the side character has gay parents.
Uh-huh.
Like that's what you get usually. So yeah, it's very 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 cool.
Because
to
it's a
see
little
that.
bit easy to cut out. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just like, yeah. And it's like, I do wish they had gone a little further with the girl stuff because it's like I said, they did go far enough with the guy stuff, like with those guys. And that's great. There's potential in the future for them to examine it here. But I really think what that came down to is, like I said, this should have been a movie. If it's a TV show, you have a lot of opportunity to build up character work. And I just do not think they built up enough character work for Chisato or Takina. In a way that felt satisfying.
Right.
All the other characters work because they are tropish characters that work in an action movie, right? You have the jokey woman who doesn't want to be here. You have the super hacker, and you have the old grizzled veteran.
Yeah.
Like those are the classics.
Right.
You can work with that, but it's like these are the main characters. You're supposed to know something about their plight, and it shouldn't just be she has a magic heart.
I also, and that brings up like also another thought in my head where I wish it was just more episodic, like a more of an anthology where it was
Yeah.
just them.
Yeah,
solving
that's
okay,
yeah.
Okay, we're gonna let's say we do complete the weird fucking police state. Okay, and you know I'd be okay if they don't resolve that at the end if it was more of an episodic series instead of this arc of like one guy being the Joker and trying to prove a huge
Just
point
like-
that gets like glossed over at the end anyway, right? And like, oh, we're done, it's fine. Like the
Yeah.
whole thing where like they were escorting that old man and creepily enough, it was not what that thing turned out to be. Like, oh my god, like they're hijacking people's dead bodies. What the fuck? Like that's such an interesting thing. Like I wish they explored more in this kind of setup of a dystopian world and yeah, more stuff like that as opposed to what
Yeah,
they
it made me
doing.
think of I feel like I fucking mention this every time as like the only TV show I've watched, but like fucking Person of Interest is
Yeah.
that, right? Like this very procedural almost like thing where they gradually build out a world, and it's just like here it's like that could have been that.
Yeah.
This could have been that. And maybe there's potential in the future.
Right.
I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, Maverick, what are your thoughts on all of this? What is your licorice take?
I think ultimately, as soon as they presented the idea of, all right, all those schoolgirls that you see out in Japan, no, they're actually making sure that criminals and deviants in our landscape are put down so that we can still maintain the peace. As soon as they gave me that, I'm like, all right, I'm taking the dial in my brain and I'm just dialing it back. Let me take my expectations, and I'm going to
Yeah.
just set them low. It was kind of just... Part of it was waiting for the eventual other shoe to drop in a way that, like... I think deep down, I thought I was going to get the Wonder Egg priority euthanization deep drop moment.
Oh man,
I thought I was going to get to that point.
I kind of did too.
And it didn't. It didn't.
No,
for
yeah.
I would say all 12 episodes. You're right. This would have been a movie. I think that compilation movie, if and when it eventually gets released, is gonna go fucking nutty.
Yeah.
Because overall, it is a consistent series, and I enjoyed my time. Knowing full well that at the beginning, I just said, all right, what are they going to show me? What are they going to give me? Because whatever message comes out at the end of this, I know I'm gonna have to contend with it. I know.
Yeah, that's definitely how I felt too. I think one of my girlfriends had this big thing, like we were watching in a group and just like consistently being like, it all depends on how it ends. It all depends on how it ends, and it ended up in a case where it's like, all right, that wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen.
I appreciate that. Like, if anything else, I appreciate that Chisato at the end of the day is still like, no, fuck you guys. Pay me to do the things that I can do, but fuck you. I can at least respect, like, you know, I know people who work position, not cops, because fucking fuck them, but I know people who work positions that, you know, it's like, slow, what do they call it again? Like, silent resignation, slow quitting, whatever that trend is.
Yeah.
You do the bare minimum work to do what you have to, and in Jisato's case, it's also the fact that, like, I know I'm good at what I do. I know no one else can beat me, but I don't want to kill people. I would rather do everything else that this job lets me do than the thing you would so eagerly pay me to do. And I like that dynamic between her and Takana, because Takana goes fucking in by the end. Like, I love that she's just, like, actively breaking through shit in order to get her girlfriend back, because she's realizing, God, there's so much that I missed out on, hell-bent on being, like, the top killer in, like, Kill School. I appreciate that.
I do think that, like, if my problems with the ending stem from two things. One, when that dude randomly shot a high school girl for no reason.
Oh, yeah.
Just absolutely out of nowhere. Very, you want to talk flowers of evil type nihilism of the world type shit. Like, that was like, I was like just shaking my damn head. I was like, this is what I expect from a mid isekai, not this.
I would have if you had that scene just be them at like a standoff or something, or like him having the gun in,
or like her like looking at him and seeing him he had the gun or something, right? Like
hesitating. Like,
but he instantly went for it. He was like, damn, these girls are cops. Like,
which, like, I mean, hey, go off, but also
I doubt that was the intent. And my second problem,
were not anti-cop in your mind. You were not.
No.
You were not.
You were anti-people. The other problem was that, again, Chisato does go in on this, like, if I kill someone, I will become evil, and it will destroy me and my soul, or whatever. Go off. She can believe that. Whatever she wants. That's fine. But she fucking throws Majima off a cliff, like,
right.
and doesn't seem to care. Like,
is just
she didn't care about that.
It just became really frustrated and just like the Disney princess of like, I can't hurt Pete. Like, it was just very silly and contrived, and it's like, come on.
Yeah. I think the only reason I end up disappointed is because, again, that first, like, I'd say, like, the first 6 episodes, like, they established such a bar of quality. Like, obviously, like, I'm with you, Maverick, in the degree of, like, I dialed my expectations down extremely so that I wasn't expecting a political analysis or anything like that. Because it's clear, like, from the get-go, this is very action movie focused. Mm-hmm. Like, we want to be an action movie. She's watching fucking Die Hard, all this other shit. Like, but it's just like those first 6 episodes have such a like clip to them, such a like yeah, we're just doing it, we're just fucking doing it, we're gonna talk about it, we have these ideas and we're gonna accomplish them. And it feels like by the end, like, I do like that the ending of them in Hawaii, that's peak action movie, and I respect that.
Oh, big time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But a lot of other stuff just, by the end, it feels like, by them at the end trying to make a statement, and like I said, accidentally being like, yeah, Majima's right. Like, it's just like, you guys should have just not, okay? Like, you should have just not. The whole thing in general screamed like they had some sort of like, I know I always say something like, you need to put me in Fujimoto's room. You need to let me edit Chainsaw Man and make it good or whatever. Like I'm always saying stuff like that. But it's like, in this case, I think they needed to get the editor out of the room. Like, I think whoever was telling them, like, you need to explain this or you need to do this, like, that was bad. That's what it feels like with the lesbian stuff to an extent, too. Like I said, like, it feels like there was a dude, like, isn't there someone you forgot to ask? Like, every single time.
Yeah. That said, like, I would say still probably my favorite show out of the summer.
It was definitely very fun. Yeah. And again, the quality of the animation and everything, just like for an original work in general, for an original anime, like for all my complaints about original anime, this was a very good one. It gives you an idea of what can be accomplished if you actually like plan things out, I think. Like everything felt like it had a place, even if I disagree with some parts of it. So next up, I was trying to think of which one of these I wanted to talk about. I think Gundam would be the one. I haven't watched the most recent episode, but I did watch the prologue and the first episode, and I quite liked it. But I'm curious to see what you think, John.
Yeah, I mean, I feel similarly. I think it's neat. Gundam has always kind of been a bit of a blind spot in my anime watching. I know you're kind of getting into the classic stuff recently, Rose, but for me, nah. I think I watched G Gundam as a kid, probably Gundam Wing too. I definitely remember G Gundam more than Gundam Wing. But so far, this is just like a neat premise, a really like well animated story so far. It's a bit tough to kind of go in on something that is just like 2 episodes so far, I guess 3, but I've only watched the first 2. The prologue was very affecting though. Just setting up everything and like showcasing the horrors of war that are in the Gundam universe. While also like implementing how these mechs work, how things are going to be different from past Gundam stories, and then the first actual episode setting up the stakes and showcasing that there is this world that these characters are being thrust into, whether they want to or not. This world of conflict and war, and your parents are setting up this world and handing it to you, and I think that's really resonant today, where you see all this shitty stuff that's happening, and how many young people are just getting handed this fucked up world and how they're having to deal with it. And so I appreciate that so far. And, I appreciate the character interactions so far as well. It's, again, I can't talk too much on it, but I love that they're just like, oh, well, you beat my betrothed shithead fiance in combat, so now you gotta marry me. And I just love how they're just like, oh, girls from Mercury must be so conservative, like, who cares? We're all gay here. It's fine. Like, that was funny.
Yeah.
So, I dig it, though. I dig it so far. The mech fights are cool. I really like the Gundam design so far. Definitely, so far, I have, I'm walking away from this being like, oh, hey, yeah, I really like the story so far, but also, man, I gotta buy a model kit of that Gundam. It is just so cool looking. I'm ready to buy some model kits already. So they have won. Sunrise has won in that regard.
Was the goal, yeah.
Yeah. But it's still good. It's still cool.
Yeah, I do think the answer to but we're both girls, oh, because you're from Mercury, you think that, or whatever, is very funny flip on the thing. But yeah, I think I said this last time about watching the prologue, but like, let me tell you, going from those old Gundams to this is like, ooh. But because it's just like going from like everyone has a cartoon mace to funnels is just a bit of a leap, let's say.
Sure.
But I love this. I think there need to be more Utena likes in general. I know that this won't be necessarily an Utena like, but just duels, bullshit like that. Like, get in with the drama. Like that's it's fun. I'm really curious to see where this goes. This is the Code Gay Ass Man. So I don't doubt that it will continue to be homosexual.
Yeah.
But we'll see. It's good. It's really cool. I feel like I'm cheating by watching old Gundam, like doing Gundam in order and then going to this. But it's cool to have the week to week. I think that really changes my perspective of watching the old ones to an extent as well. Thinking about like how would this have felt being a child watching this in like the 70s or whatever.
Have you gotten to a Zeta Gundam yet?
Just about like 2 episodes off from that.
Okay.
And I'm very excited to see that in Double Zeta because I know a lot of people like Double Zeta Gundam as well.
Judao Ashita, same voice actor as Frankie in One Piece.
Oh, wow, that guy's old then.
That guy is old, yeah. No, straight up. But I like the Ariel. I like.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. The other mobile suits aren't really like catching me, which I'm like a little bummed out on, but maybe something will come up later and like that'll knock me off my socks. You know, I'm coming at this as the guy that has at least seen just enough mecha to care a little bit about designs. So
what do you think about Gwell Jetterk?
Gwell Jetterk, that was like the
first antagonist.
I've been seeing the meme where he can either be an antagonist from Gundam 00, which I think people like, and then an antagonist from Gundam Zeta that people don't like. He's fine. He's brash. You know, and maybe that's the thing. It's like he's either gonna be like, oh no, let the lesbians lesbian, and then like kill his dad, or be like, I hate all homosexuals actually, and like fucking, I don't know, kill the dude with the nose tube, the Bolsonaro tube. Much to think about. You might have seen it, but episode 3, you might have seen it in like pictures. Episode 3 introduces us to the Char of the series. Or at least the person with like the Char mask.
Oh. Which would just be Char. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. It's not hard to discern like who it is. I mean,
yeah, I've seen one screenshot and I was like, all right, yeah.
Yeah. They aren't hiding it. But yeah, you know, it sometimes it's you want to go into a series unspoiled, like uncompromised or whatever at all. Sometimes you're someone that consumes Mobile Suit Gundam and you recognize fully well the tropes that are within these series and you're ready to see the fall. It's like seeing an Erector set or like a Rube Goldberg machine. Except also these machines can either end up with like a fire or you just see like something incredible. Or maybe a little in between. Because like Wing was middling at best. It wasn't like knock your socks off, but it wasn't like offensive.
We'll just have to wait and see.
Amuro.
Amuro. I haven't seen the opening and ending yet, huh? I know some people liked the ending.
Opening's good. It's another Yoasobi joint, so.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
LV, real quick.
Oh, yeah.
I watched the Villainous anime
as
well.
All right.
And I agree. It is very like very mid
So
core.
far.
It's still cute. It's much better than the second season of other Villainous.
I didn't bother
so far.
with that, to be honest.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, I was like, I'm satisfied. She loves everyone. Cool.
It has a complete art
yeah,
thing.
Absolutely. She basically like made everyone happy, and they're all in love. That's fine. We can end it there. Yeah, I'm the villainous. I'm taming the final boss. Is the latest villainous isekai, which in itself is its own genre. You know, clearly targeting a female reader demographic. Which I think, like, so far, and from what I hear, does, like, definitely more interesting things, I think, with the issue of isekai, just narrowly not. And in this case, right, we had the other villainous isekai, which I really liked, you know, as we just talked about. And you know, again, like, just from what the title says, this character, again, girl dies. We have this little thing showing that she was probably sick. She probably had cancer. Like, you know, often in
Yeah,
media,
it
often
did
in media,
definitely
like,
look like
yeah, she had a hat
radiation.
on, you know, and that, and realistically, that is something that people would put on when their hair starts falling out. And she was in a hospital bed. But yeah, she played this Jane Sim when she was, sadly on her deathbed, and saw it through. And yeah, here we go. We jump to this character kind of being rejected from the main love interest according to her arc in the game. That's how she she becomes Joker-fied and becomes the villain of the game. And yeah, again, the whole premise of like her trying to turn things around and what she is aware of the game's events from her knowledge of her past life as a gamer girl. Like, yeah, okay, she, again, classic thing she's doing as previous in the other villainous show. She is using her knowledge of the game's events to upend things around to prevent her fate from going sideways and probably getting killed off as the villain of the game, right? Just like, yeah. My problem with this show compared to the other one is that I think it's sadly going too quickly.
Sure.
Though, to be fair, I have read reviews of the actual light novel itself, which is also ongoing. And also, like, has only 3 volumes in, so I feel like the anime is probably at the same speed as the novel, so I don't know what's going on there. Where it just seems like it goes, like, there isn't a lot, like, again, I'm worried that, like, we're just getting a Mary Sue effect, which is the problem with Isekai. This is just a perfect character that's, like, getting things handed to them because they already are, like, extraordinary. They're just kind of already preconceived and, like, yeah, they're very different from everyone else, so they already have, like, an advantage over everyone else because they know things other people don't or have some sort of special thing to them. Whereas I felt like in the other show that, they made it really clear she had to work hard to get to where she was. The fucking farming thing is still the funniest thing to me. She had to farm and live in the outskirts of the town because she was worried about what may happen to her, and she's doing all these things to prevent any measure of her getting fucked up because of what she knows will happen in the game. And in this case, she just goes to the demon king, you know, and there's more to it. He's not literally a demon, but she just goes to the ruler of the demons, the quote unquote final boss of the game, like another antagonist in the game, and she just walks up to him, and it's like he's instantly charmed with her. He's like, oh, and again, there's like build up to that, and there's development. He doesn't immediately. Immediately is the wrong word, but I feel like it's happening very quickly. She immediately gets access to a legion of demons she can control. Like, okay. Though to be fair, in these first 3 episodes, they just finished, they just kind of finish the summation of like what was supposed to happen in her ending or something like that. Like, oh yeah, something's supposed to happen at this party, at this masquerade, at the royal court, etc. But now it hasn't. So I don't know. Maybe we're finally getting to the gist of like, okay, now that things are different, maybe it'll get harder for me. I don't know. It's just it just feels like there isn't like a lot of build up to her character, and we kind of are just jumping in very quickly where things are working well for her. I don't know. That's just what it feels like to me. Like the second episode really killed me, where all these men just showed up, and
yeah, that's the problem, like, right? What? Compared to the other villainous show where they very gradually introduced them all.
Yeah, it's like, wait, are we supposed? Yeah, I think this is what it is. The problem with this show is that it doesn't establish what her character is supposed to be and who she is.
In the story, compared to the Katarina Klaus, describing everything about her and all this stuff. Like, yeah.
Compared to the character, compared to the main protagonist's actual, So everything just feels like it's just going and feels like it's being handed to her in a way.
There's no time for rumination.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Like, yeah, like the way that I feel like a light novel would be. Definitely a lot more interior monologue and stuff like that.
Right. Right, absolutely. Like, I don't know what her previous relationships are with these guys. It just feels like she knows them. It just feels like she has all these resources already up from bat. But then I'm not being told what the game's rules are compared to the other show, like, where it's like, oh, okay. And also it has the added humor too of like in that show, in that series, she has her little selves in her mind, her little conference of her consciousness.
even aside from that, she had these asides where she was like, in the real game, this guy
she was
did
explaining
this. Like,
things.
she was explaining it, but here it's just like,
Okay. Yeah, like,
I guess,
we have to
I think
accept
like
that.
this is much more reliant on Otome knowledge.
Yeah.
Like you being like, oh, this is the type of character that this person has, the vizier type dude
Right.
or whatever. Like, yeah.
But that said, I did spoil myself by accident because it's just spelled out of what happens. And I'm like, okay, cool. There's going to be a little more introspection of like what the demon world is and like what the situation is with the other characters. Like, I think the idea that, yeah, the main love interest is actually like two-faced and there's more going on there. Like, I think that's compelling and interesting. But yeah, I just don't, yeah. So it's so far being like, to me, you know, it's like, I think I'm just so impressed by the other one. I like expected more from this. And that's really what it is.
Well, see, my benefit is I was like unimpressed by the second
Oh, okay.
season.
Well, again, never touched
So
that.
I'm like, all right, let's go. Yeah, I don't recommend it. I think like I do really like the main love interest dude, the demon lord guy. I think he's a fun character. I from being spoiled on seeing like that and they get to this in the most recent episode. Oh, also funniest thing in the most recent episode is her signing her divorce papers or whatever at the ball.
Oh, okay, that's fun.
Insanely funny scene. Insanely funny concept of just like she's at this ball and she's like, where are the papers? Puts them on a big fancy altar in the middle and signs them. But the girl, the other girl, like who's the heroine of the game or whatever, like her being able to force the routes to happen or whatever with her powers of being the main character is very funny.
Yeah, that's good.
As a concept, and it'll be interesting to see where they go with that. It has a very cute art style.
Yeah,
I will
it has
give it that
potential,
also.
so I'm
Like, it's
holding
very
on
cute.
to it. Yeah.
The ending's a lot of fun too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the ending song is great. It's a banger. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. But I was pleasantly surprised by this. I was really like, especially because I watched a lot more droll stuff recently. That was nice. Okay, to wrap it up here, I'm going to let the boys. I don't know, Ellie, have you seen Chainsaw Man?
If not, I'm holding out on that.
Okay,
Potentially.
then yeah,
Yep.
the boys, you can talk
The
about Spy
hottest-
Family and Chainsaw
The
Man
hottest
if you
show
want.
of the hottest expectation of the season.
Yeah.
Chainsaw Man's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard that in the most recent part. They say that all the time.
They do. Look,
They say it in the show.
there's all kinds of blood and gore and violence. It's cool when people are getting all cut up and shit. And no, but for real, it's actually it's really well animated. I'm happy to see that something that I enjoy as much as Chainsaw Man is getting a super good adaptation. It's just really nice to look at. It feels like everyone had fun making it, you know? Like, the opening just has a bunch of goofy movie references. Like, that's what a lot of people are, like, fixating on right now. It's just being like, wow, this is just a shot from Reservoir Dogs. This is just a shot from Jacob's Ladder. One of the shots is from Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, which is really good.
There's another shot from like Kayako versus Sadako, which is like a 90s horror flick, which is like, that's how you know that this is very much a Fujimoto joint, where it is just not like, oh, what are iconic references, but more so, what can we pull from this guy? I keep saying, like, obviously, in hindsight, a lot of just like the Demon Hunter, like, public service stuff is Reservoir Dogs. Mm-hmm. It could just as easily be Blues Brothers, though, and I wouldn't mind, like, Denji and Power doing a rendition of Someone to Love.
It's fun so far. I'm just having a good time with it. Chainsaw Man is definitely a story where, yeah, like you've talked about, Rose, how, you know, some of the aspects of it are frustrating, but overall, I just really enjoy that story and that world and those characters, and being able to see them in animation, in really, really nice animation, is lovely. Like, it's just nice to see them. Like, God, like, I'm like actively like, yes, I need the next episode to come out. I need to see Power. I just need to see Power be a fucking freak for as long as the show is on. Like, that's what I need. I love it. It's great. Fantastic stuff. Maverick, how are you feeling about it?
I'm feeling really good. Like, to have this come out, or The fact that these are going to come out concurrent with chapters of Chainsaw Man 2 rocks.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that because, I was reading the latest chapter and it's still going in its direction. Everyone's going to be so caught up on how the anime is doing, but overall, I'm really just having a blast with it. Thank God that they are actually leaning into CG for some shots, because as much as I am like eager for Mappa to do their all with this show, and they will, like, they already have to put out Crap on Titan Final Mix. They already have to do Vinland Saga Season 2, a continuation.
Wait, they're not even, though. Wait, Mappa is, they're the ones who took it, right? Fuck.
Yeah.
God, fuck. Why did they do that?
No, exactly. Like, knowing that there's so many things on the horizon, they already push themselves to a really solid limit with Dance Dance Danseur and Crap on Final, Not Final, whatever. My Nazi show. But, like, it's so nice to see that they are at least realizing, like, oh no, we have a decent, like, CG team on our hands. We have the resources. We've done Zombieland Saga.
Dorohedoro. Like,
Yeah.
Dorohedoro looked...
Dorohedoro also a Mappa joint?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it looked fucking amazing, too, for CG
good, yeah.
stuff. Like,
No.
yeah.
Knowing that they do have the tech for this and realizing, it's not going to be a sin for us to use this. Anyone that's, like, upset that they're using CG, shut up. Shut the up. I don't care. I'd rather these animators be given the resources to be able to, like, focus on scenes that are still going to be exhausting and intensive, but not have to do that for the entire process. And yeah, opening's great. A lot of the, like, OST is also good. I know it's by the same person that worked on Devilman Crybaby.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So, like, it's really just one of those things that literally every, like, A-list person in the industry that you could get is attached in some way or another, and I can only imagine how, like, I think they said that this might get up to, like, the first 50 chapters, so to wherever, like, Katana Man ends up, and I'm really just in it for the ride. I'm excited to see what comes out of this.
I'm excited to watch it at some point over the next couple days. Still trying to nail down what group wants to actually watch it.
Fuck it, I'll rewatch it.
That's what I usually end up doing with these. The type of thing is just, like, I remember when Boku no Hero came out, I think I watched, like, the first episode maybe, like, 4 times with 4 different people.
It's a good episode.
Yeah, good. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear that it got an adaptation that it deserved. Much better than Lucifer and Biscuit Hammer. I'm one behind on Spy Family, but I started that up, and I saw you talking a little bit about it, I think, John, on Twitter. So I'm curious to see what your thoughts are.
It's cute. I would say that I feel like it's kind of going a little slowly, but I'm still enjoying it. Like, I don't know if you've read the manga or anything, but, like, the first 2 episodes are, like, it's introducing the dog, it's introducing Bond.
Let's fucking go.
But yeah, like, and it's good. I'm not saying it's bad, but, like, the first 2, we've gotten through 2 episodes, and it still hasn't, like, wrapped up the introduction to the dog. It is like, yeah, they're chasing after the terrorists. They're, Yor beat up the guy, and then Anya's running around trying to save Lloyd because the dog can see into the future and, like, warns her that he's going to get caught up in an explosion. And again, like, that has been, like, both the episodes, and they're still not 100% done. Like, they still haven't, like, adopted the dog yet. So it's just like, yeah, it's good. I'm enjoying it, but I'm just kind of sitting here like, all right, this has been 2 episodes out of I don't know, the 13. Yeah, and
Yeah, like the way that they're pacing it out, it feels like it's a fucking like Naruto filler arc type thing where this is happening every week instead of it being like a 13 episode core.
Yeah, and
Right.
like yeah,
like that feels like the gravitas they got with.
and is the next episode then just gonna be like the wrap up to it? Because like I like how much else can they get out of it? I don't like it.
Yeah.
It just I don't know. Again, I'm not disliking it. Like I still like it all. I'm still enjoying everything that they're putting into it. I'm just like I don't know why this is like as long as it is, but you know, whatever. Again, I'm still digging it. I love Spy Family. I love just like sitting there and taking some screenshots of all the dumb shit that happens in that show.
Yeah.
So yeah, no real complaint.
I figure that, like, I'm just looking at the manga now, because where they're adapting to is, like, they cut at the end of, like, chapter 21. Mm-hmm. Literally, like, the same shot, and so I figure they'll get through, like, up to, what is it? Like, chapter 43. Like, for arcs, you know, they're going to go back to some school stuff for a bit. I would figure that this last episode will be everything involving up to like the actual naming of the dog, so that like you are just like, hey, it's Bond. Do some school stuff, introduce the other character, the female spy that like is involved with Lloyd, and this is me just putting on like showrunner brain. I assume we'll get to like right before the cruise ship.
Sure.
Like I'll call it. Last scene is just like maybe an after credits thing. Yor gets the call and it's like, I have a new client for the Thorn Princess. Mm-hmm. And then Spy Family season 3 or whatever. But it's good. I still dig it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I don't want this to sound like I'm like, ugh, this is a bad adaptation. Like I'm just like a little surprised at like how long it's going for that, but like also no, it's fine. So whatever. I'm not really complaining. I'm just kind of being like, huh, all right, whatever.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm with you.
It also is just kind of a long, like not like a long arc, but like the fact that each of those chapters is like about double a regular chapter.
Sure.
Like the pacing can feel a little bit different with those in particular, but yeah, I assume it'll be one more dog episode, and then we just go into whatever else we can fit before a next like definitive storyline.
I can say this confidently. I think that both the opening and the ending are a big step down. I don't think the opening's a huge step down, but the ending is definitely a big step down to me.
I don't mind them. It's different.
I'm not saying they're bad. I think that last ending was really good.
Oh yeah.
And seeing them go to this is like, eh. Also, just the over-reliance on lens flares versus the a lot more creative energy in the first one. It just makes it feel a lot more like, yep, that's an anime in 2022. You know?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I am more of a Bumba Chicken guy than I am a Higedan guy.
No, I get you. They're good.
But even then, like, again, this is like a weird one where it's like, it's a consistent simmer of a song versus like a standard, like, verse chorus.
Yeah.
But, I mean, again, like it makes sense. Like, this is the most exciting part of this section. Like, and I don't just mean that from like a bias, like, this is the most action we get for a while in the manga before the next ramp up.
Yeah. It's good. I like it.
It is good. All right, so we're gonna drop it there just because
Sure.
It's already been 2 fucking hours. Like
Yeah.
we can talk more about this next time. I think we have a lot more free time to talk about all of these different things that we've tried.
And we'll have more of it under our belts.
Yeah, that too. We'll have better impression of where things are instead of just like who knows. I am very curious to see more episodes of Blue Lock before I make a determination on Blue Lock. Yeah. I'm curious to see more of Akima Maid War to hope that it lives up to the hype that it showed. We will see. We will talk about that next time.
Literally, Urusei Yatsura drops this week.
That's true. Yeah. Fuck. Yeah. And I have a whole bunch of things on my list I'm going to get to. But yeah, for now, so LV picked the next anime that we're going
Sure.
to watch. If you want to say what it is, LV, go
Sure.
right ahead.
An anime from 2005 that went on to go on for 4 seasons into the 2010s. Hellgirl, or Jikoko Shoujo, which was, an anime that lasted, like, as I said, it went to 4 seasons. It was it's a purely original series, commissioned by a Japanese network at that point in time, even penned by a director who's not that well known either to this day, and animated by Studio Dean across all 4 seasons, who coincidentally, Studio Dean started off, actually, their first series was, and we know what Studio Dean does, but, like, their first series was the last part of Urusei Yatsura, if we're talking about the University something here, as Urusei Yatsura, the remake, is debuting this week. We will be watching the first 13 episodes of season 1, because this was around a time when 26 episodes per season was more common. Look at that. And good luck out there. I'm sorry to our listeners, but this is a series bizarrely licensed in a difficult way, because every season had a different company that licensed it out to North America. Makes no fucking sense. But good luck out there. For some reason, only season 4, the latest season and last season, is accessible on platforms. But that's what you're watching for our next, like, anime in circulation. Hellgirl, season 1, the first 13 episodes. It's somewhere out there. It's not lost media. You can find it somehow.
It's not that hard to find. Yeah.
But yeah, this is a series I remember liking. So it's interesting to see how this fares now, in my perspective, all these years later.
All right. I'm curious to see it as well, because I've never even heard of it.
We went from Flowers of Evil to hell.
Yeah, I'm hoping a little lighter. A different kind of hell.
A different kind of hell. Very, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, then I'll do my usual bit. You can go to patreon.com/VGCC and pay $3 to get all of this 1 week early. You can send in questions and opinions to videogamechoochoo.tumblr.com/ask if you have anything to share or talk about. And I think that about does it. We covered everything. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for joining me to talk about stuff. It was good to sort through my feelings on this series in a way. And yeah, we'll see you next. Oh yeah.
No, in order for it to match up with the beat drop, think about something very fucked up. Think that something bad just happened.
I'm gonna watch the Made in Abyss movie this week.
Oh.
Marty whipping and nay-naying.
But yeah, have a good one, everybody.
Hana 広く風に怯えた誰も